Okay, here's a how to play for Uncharted Waters for the Super Nintendo. This is Splat, and Uncharted Waters is a Koei game, Japanese company that made some really good strategy games in the 90s. And Uncharted Waters actually also then became Uncharted Waters New Horizons, the sequel, and then they also came out with Uncharted Waters Online in 2004. But this is the game that started it all for them. I'm just going to go through a new adventure here and create a character. So what makes this game so great is it plays very similar to something like Sid Meier's Pirates. Here in the beginning, you can say no to a lot of these, and they just keep scrolling through different skill scores, charisma, wisdom, intelligence, etc. Just to give you a breakdown of what these do, the charisma is how much your first mate, second mate, all of your mates, their loyalty will go up when you give them money. Intelligence is going to affect things like prices. Courage is going to affect in battle whether or not you're able to maintain a course toward the enemy. Strength is going to affect when you're sailing in the open world whether or not you can continue on a particular path or if your ship gets pushed. They're very minor, and really they don't have a huge bearing, so you can just pick something like this and say okay. The ones that are going to make a big difference at the beginning are your charisma and your courage. In my opinion, anyway. But all of these actually will increase over time with gameplay and various things that you do throughout the missions. So we'll just go with that. Enter name of flagship. We'll just call it the A. Okay? Let's get started here. Yes, everything's okay. This is you. It says, you know what, my ancestors were traders. My father was a famous trader, and he sailed off. He got lost at sea. This is his first mate who was helping him, and he came back. And the girl was the princess, who is the daughter of the King of Portugal, who has a crush on. And so now he's got his one ship, and he's going to try and go out and seek his fortune just like his father did. So you begin the game here in the main port of Lisbon, Portugal, and all ports are going to look the same. There will be differences in maybe the music, the facade of the buildings, but all of the functionalities will be the same. This building here is the main palace. In any port, if there's a building in this area in the upper right hand, it will be for the king or the ruler. So you go in there to do all kinds of diplomatic options. If I try to go in now, they're just going to kick me out. Later on, I'll be called to the palace to do a mission for the king and thereby earn ranks. And that's how you proceed to the end game, where you go all the way up to, I think it's Duke, and then the king gives you a final mission to rescue the princess. You save her, and then your mission is complete, your game is complete. This is the buy and sell, the market for the goods. So here, I'm just going to sell everything that's on the ship right now, which it always starts with this pepper and quartz. Who knows where he got it? And then I will buy, because the best trade route is just to start dealing in sugar. All of these are useless for nearby trade. Firearms you could take down to Santo Domingo and sell for a huge profit, but everything else is just, it's not as profitable as the sugar trade. Now in a lot of cases, when the commerce is developed enough within a port, you can say no to their price and they will ask you if you wanted to pay less. So you can save yourself a few gold that way, which is pretty pertinent in the early stages of the game. Now this is the inn area. The inn will always be located here. Some inns have waitresses, some do not. At the inn, what you've got to do is to find mates. You can have up to 5 ships in your fleet, including yourself and the one that you are on. I only have 1 ship right now, but in order to get other ships, you have to recruit mates. So here, this selection is where you get crew to put on your ships, which crew is used from hand-to-hand battles, and it also insists in making sure that your ships don't get lost at sea. In this case, I want to find mates. Fernando is going to be too skilled, he's going to say no. Your, I believe it's battle skill and sailing skill and or need to be equal to or higher than the skill of that mate for them to come and join you. So, but here's a real green guy, Marco, and in the beginning when I first started playing this game, I went and found the most awesome mates because I thought it was cool to collect them all. You can have, I think, 10, so you can have 2 sets, a set of 5, and it was nice, but the problem is handicapping yourself by not getting the mates that are available right off the bat. And if you get Marco, you give him a ship, you start sitting around, he's going to build up in skill anyway. Gossip is to find out information about things that are happening nearby. Eventually the gossip will tell you stories about pirates nearby, people you can go seek. It'll tell you about the price of goods in nearby areas, deals. The tip is the same thing as gossip, except it's to the waitress. It costs you 10. And she'll tell you if like the king is looking for you or whatnot. Gamble is to play poker with these guys. They're reasonably good, but there's just faster ways to make money in this game. So now that I actually did an action in the inn, I have to sleep over the next day. I guess your captain gets drunk and he has to sleep it off. This is the little building where you can come to wait time periods or to view information about yourself or your mates. So as you can see here, starting from the top left, my fame is 0, and that will go up as I complete trades, find ports, and to take out pirates or even other. Spain and Turkey are the other ones. Those are the other 2 countries that are involved in this game. Battle experience goes up as I sink ships or take shots at ships. Sinking a ship will make your battle experience go up vastly faster than just taking shots on a ship. Sailing experience, however, only goes up by sailing ships and spending that food and water in order to make the sail. And the bigger the ship, the more experience you're going to gain. Fleet information. I've only got 1 ship. It's the A. It's got a swan figurehead up there next to the picture of the ship. The figurehead helps to prevent the happening of strange occurrences where your ship might disappear or you might get a storm that could damage your ship. So the figureheads are kind of a lucky piece that help to keep that ship from having bad things happen to it. Durability and power are being able to take damage. Handling is your ability to change direction and zip around, especially on the battlefield of the ships. Cargo is the total amount that that ship, the entire ship itself, can carry. So 70 minus the 20 for the crew minus the 10 for the armaments means I've only got 50 of space right now. Let's go ahead and exit out of here. And this final building that I just entered is where you can purchase small items, trinkets. You can pick telescopes. Dagger is, if you buy that, it will equip your crew with that weapon. So when you go hand-to-hand in battle, all of your men have daggers. So it increases their efficiency at hand-to-hand combat. The icon is very similar to the figurehead on the ships, except it's for you, and it's almost like in combination with the figureheads, prevents you from having natural disasters at sea. Here's where you can sell items that you pull off of guys you've defeated in battle. So that would be the necklaces, the trinkets, the ivory icons, and all that BS. National information shows the diplomatic information about specifically whether or not Turkey or Spain is happy with Portugal. Not too necessary to look at that right now. And then finally, the shipyard is over here. This is where if you wanted to have your ship fixed, if you want to invest in the shipyard, investing in the shipyard or in the market increases their options and availability of certain items. So if you were to invest in the shipyard and then wait until the first of the next month, because that's how long it takes for the money to be invested and build it, they will have new ships available, except for places like Portugal or Spain or Turkey, where you cannot invest without the king's consent, and that's even after you gain a rank, you just can't do it here. So this would be to buy a new ship. This option is to sell a ship in your inventory. If you do sell, make sure to take your crew off, take your goods off. Don't worry about the mate, he won't go with it. But make sure to get everything of value off the ship before you sell it, because it's not going to increase the sale price. Remodel is to change a ship, so you can change the sails, you can change the armament, and you can change the crew. You can tinker with those weapons specifications. And then finally here is where you go to leave. So this would be if you wanted to transfer items between ships or off of a ship and just leave it. You don't want it anymore. Here's where you need to restock food or water, because your crew are going to need those if you're going to sail. And then here's where you actually choose the option to sail. So here, preparations are complete, ready, let's go. Now leaving Lisbon. One thing to note is that the people line up in accordance with how happy the port is with you. So if you get 3 people, I think that means they're 80% happy. 2 people should be 60%, and if you only get 1 person, then the port itself is not that happy with Portugal. So from here, these are the options that I have here. I'm going to go with the look option and see who's next to me. Juan, he's a Portuguese sailor, and if I were to look and negotiate with Juan, it would be to speak with him. He'll tell me where I can sell my sugar because he knows I have it on board. If you negotiate with a pirate, they're going to attack you right away. Let's take a look at these menu options. Move is the same as just using your cross pad, except it like pauses the game and allows you to point the direction before engaging your sails in that direction. Debark is to either go ashore or to enter a port. Look, you saw me use that as to inspect, look at a nearby ship. You can survey an area, or you can negotiate with a nearby guy. Battle is pretty obvious. Info is the same as the port info from the port building that we were at, where you can observe yourself, your fleet, your cargo information. Some of these you won't even use when you go through the whole game. The land, there's nothing unusual. Okay, that's fine. Order is to change the ration distribution. There are games that I play the entire game, I never mess with this, but if you are in a situation where you have very little food or rations left, it might be better to reduce the rations so you can get to a port, because if you run out of food, your crew starts dying off, and if enough people die off that you don't have enough men to man your ship will be lost at sea and you'll lose the game. Distribute is to give money to your mates to increase their loyalty. So for example, if Marco were with me, I believe I had recruited him, I'll pick him up on the next trip. Personnel, and then to dispose of a guy, and I've never used those aren't necessary. So a lot of the times these strategy games will have options that you will not utilize, or have no need to utilize or touch at that particular time. The closest port other than Seville to sell is in Bordeaux, which I can sell the sugar in Bordeaux and buy porcelain in Bordeaux and bring it back. And you will just complete that trade route until you have enough to buy another couple of ships. So here we are at Bordeaux, and my sailing skill improved just in the one mission, so it should have gone up 1 or 2 levels. Okay, so here in Bordeaux, I want to go ahead and sell that sugar that I've got on board. So I'm going to go to the market, sell. Now I had bought the sugar for 24, and here it sells at a rate of 51. So I'm getting almost double on the money. And now while I'm here, I'm going to buy and fill the hold with porcelain at 62. If I say interested, no, he's going to say, sorry, I can't sell that price, because it's not a developed port, so he doesn't have the ability to negotiate down. So from here, I will then sail straight back to Lisbon, and you'll repeat this several times until you have enough money to buy either a Neo or a Carrack ship. They have much larger holds, they can hold more, and then after that you'll only probably need 2 or 3 more shipping trade routes before you can afford the galleon. Your first goal should be a fleet to have maybe 3 to 5 galleons with mates. You're going to have to pick those mates up along the way. And then you can move on to developing the port of Bordeaux so that it can give you heavy galleons, which are significantly stronger than the standard galleon ship. So then back here in Lisbon, I'm just going to repeat the trade route. Sell. Porcelain, 35, yes. Now I've skipped ahead quite a bit here, just so I can show you how the battle system works. After you've gotten your huge fleet of 5 galleons or 5 heavy galleons, I prefer using heavy galleons and having a crew space of 100, a cargo space of 800, and an armament space of 100 with cannons, because the heavy galleon can hold a total of 1,000 in space. I suppose if you went a little bit higher on the crew, you could probably do a little bit more damage and actually be able to sink galleons in one shot, depending on your battle skill. But I prefer the 800 because the math works out a little bit better in my head when I'm trying to calculate what to put on which ship or how to engage a trade or whatnot. At this point, I'm going to skip forward until I find a ship, and then we'll slow down so we can see the battle. Okay, so here I finally have a fleet off to my right, and I'm going to pick look and inspect. And because I now have the telescope, I can see anywhere on the map. Without it, you can only see your adjacent tiles. This is a Turkish fleet. It's got 2 galleons. They're not going to be any problem for me. I don't even really care who they are, but if you keep clicking on them, you will eventually be told that it's Tahi's fleet, which could be pertinent information if at some point you were looking to take him out. Sometimes you'll be given the quest from the King of Portugal to go seek out particular fleets where that country is at war with Portugal, and this may have been one of those instances. In this case, I just want to show you how the battle works. So now that I'm right on top of him, I'll hit battle. Which fleet? Right on top of me. Attack the warships. Yes. This is where I talk smack, he talks smack, and then let's see what the positioning is. He's going to go first. In the lower left hand, you can see that the wind is pointing toward the northwest, and then the other icon shows the amount of game time left that you can battle. We have 27 turns before the sun goes down and the battle automatically ends. His first ship fired on me and his second ship went hand to hand. So my first ship to move, I'm going to go up, and you have to be really careful with the targeting. You'll get used to it, but using cannons or sakers, you can only fire in these 3 close by circles. If you have the culverins, there's actually a row of 4 that are beyond, where you can also hit there, but they are significantly weaker. I wouldn't recommend it. I suggest always sticking with cannons. So I went from 70 to 54 on the hull for that ship. Let's go ahead and keep hitting on it. Down to 22. I also don't recommend going hand-to-hand with the crew. Taking out the ships with crew is expensive, more expensive than just sinking the ships. The other tip here is that if you just sink the flagships flat out, the whole battle will end and you'll automatically win. But if you're looking to build your battle experience, you want your guys to get as many shots on these enemy ships as possible. It all depends on the mobility. It has to do with the courage rating, the ship's mobility, the wind. All play a part. There's a factor for each one. And this will sink him. And he talks his last words. Then they tell you about the spoils of war that you get. Whether or not your guys gain battle experience. They will tell you if a level goes up. So if they gain a level, they're going to tell you about it. I got 4128 gold. Sometimes you get a little item there, and then it gives you an option to take the items off of his fleet and put them onto your fleet, which he didn't really have much of anything. 146 water, 112 food. Some cases there's a little blue icon down below the lumber on his side that says reserve, a little line item, and you can pull whatever goods they have. Artwork, grapes, cloth, wool. At this point I really didn't want any of his stuff. And that is how the battle proceeds. So hopefully these tips have been good for you on the Uncharted Waters. If you have any questions or comments, just list them below. Please subscribe, and I hope this has been helpful here. Thank you.